So, it is July 1st, 2020. I just got off the phone with the New York State Tax Department, right? And here, there's the number. I don't know if you got that. I'll read it off. All right, so anyway, I called the number on the statement, which was Albany is a 518 area code. So I called 518 457-5434. Goes to a call center, like a front number first. That's exactly what she said. Spoke to them. I called like on or about like 2:10 p.m. is when I started the call. I got Sharon. Her employee number is 63009. Was on the phone with her, explained about the 2014 problem with Richard McQuillan, where he kept collecting the brokerage checks for every house that I closed, putting them in his bank account, and then didn't pay me out for all of the business that I closed, which led to me not being able to pay my bills or for my kids. I couldn't afford my taxes either. So then Sharon said, well, let me put you over to collections. I said, well, here's the thing, Sharon. I'm just confused. I don't have a job that pays steady income or any income. I don't have a checking account at all where I would put money in if I was employed and then write checks out. That's how you pay your bills. It's your billing system. I don't have a way of setting up a payment plan in the future because I have no income, Sharon. So now, here's what happens. I was told by my mother that if I don't pay these taxes that I couldn't afford to file back then, that you will arrest me and put me in jail. She says, no, they won't do that. And I said, right, but if they issue a warrant, Sharon, then they come to arrest you, do they not? She goes, oh, well, then, yeah, then they do. Okay. So I said, well, then how is it that you'd like, I need to stay out of jail. So, I said, here's my other thing. You, New York people have written the tax laws so horrifically that now it require, in order to file a tax return, you have to pay someone to do it for you because it makes no sense. So, this is the rigmarole that humans and thought pattern and the shitty management in the Empire State and the entire U.S. and the federal government and so on and so forth does in this red, white, and blue that fucking buried me and left me here with no cover, no help. So here we are on, I said to her, so let me get this straight. So I make money technically, but it goes to somebody else who then is responsible for paying me. He claims on his taxes that I made income and sends it directly to your billing department. But I never get the check that gets deposited in order to pay taxes. But in independent contractor business, what they expect is you work for months, sometimes a year, with zero income, and then when you close and all the other parties are ready, then they issue a check, but not to me. They issue it to the person who owns the office. Then that person then cuts me a check if I'm lucky, if they're honest. So I worked for 3.5 years with very minimal checks being cut to me. It was not steady income. I've never had a steady income, or I haven't since Chase Bank and Merrill Lynch. So how, when I have to work going forward for free for years, and then at the end, where they say that they're going to pay me, they don't, how am I supposed to pay for a lawyer who's one service to sue in a court system that charges you like $30,000 for something fucking stupid, for some papers? And then there's a tax preparer that you have to pay, like, I don't know, $1,200 for, and hope that they're honest and don't steal your tax income. Because the guy who stole my tax refund, oh my God, his accountant, he also, that was like Weinstein and Schraub over in East Meadow, the piece of shit, the last one that I used. That was Richard McClellan's accountant. With the guy who got the DWI in the office and couldn't drive anymore. I think his name was Vinny, something like that, right? Yeah. Those assholes, I was supposed to get like a $10,000 refund for my kids, and all of a sudden when the check came, it was only $2,000, and they're like, no, you must have had that backwards. I'm like, no, I don't, but now what do I do? Now I have to hire and spend more money for an attorney to go after the crooks when I don't have any money. They've already shysted me out of money. This is how New York runs its business, its governance, its banking department, its Albany, which is its capital, of the Empire State, of the Department of State of New York, of the I don't know what inside the federal government. I know that the Magna Carta is supposed to be the royal hand that protects citizens and whatever from being abused. But then you have this constitutional thing and some Bill of Rights. But yet it seems like you run the shit show totally unconstitutional. So now what am I supposed to do as Zarina and Goddess Nyx of the Empire State, and being Zarina that nobody even acknowledges? They don't do royalty in America, so they said. They're like, that's like a United Kingdom, you'd have to call them. I'm like, yeah, except the fucking queen over there and she did a switcheroo before I was born and fucking front load buried me under a Caterpillar dumpster truck full of payload dirt, and I don't know how to get out of this. And like nobody in like modern day gives a shit. So who do I call for help? How do I get out of this? And what the fuck is any single human breathing useful for? I'm just curious. All areas stupid. Right, okay, so then she moved me over to Colleen in collections at 518-457-5893. Colleen's employee number is 64257. The call ended around 2:39 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I asked Colleen, I said, you work in Albany for one of the Albany tax collections. So I'm just curious, do you know why they call New York the Empire State? And she's like, I have no idea. I said, the word association doesn't come up with anything. You never learned it? And she's like, no. And she's like, maybe I knew it at one time. She's like, I don't know it now. And she's like, why? I'm like, I'm just curious, because these things exist. We know we're in the Empire State. We just don't know what empire. I was like, we know that there was a British Empire, there was a Macedonian, a Roman, what was the other ones? I said Ottoman, Hungarian. There's a whole lot of empires that have existed through all areas, space and time for management. I was like, we live in this thing called the Empire State in New York. But yet nobody in the U.S. of 50 postage stamps of USA ever mentions why we're the Empire State within that governance system. And she's like, yeah, no, I never heard of that. It's amazing. I think that my AROUMD in Russia and all of my empire players in some form of leadership that does nothing to help my real situation out in New York, or God ZEUS for my goddess NYX, and Zarina Nicole as Tsar Nicklaus Hitler. Why do we have so few humans that are useful and helpful in our endeavor to just want to be married to one another and not have to do fucking Empire State, like customer service work for governments that don't work and don't want to acknowledge us? I'm just curious what you all get out of this. Because, my part is true. I've documented it the whole entire way. And yet, with so many people in politics and in thinking that they govern shit, you've gotten zero accomplished on my benefit. Nobody's come for me. Nobody's paid for anything that I've done. I wouldn't know how to register myself as a royal. I mean, is there such a thing in the United States that says that there's no such thing as royalty? We don't acknowledge royalty within the United States of America? And who made that rule up? I'm just curious. I think that was a rule that was when Elizabeth was supposed to be in York because her family's from York. Right, she was supposed to come to New York. But once it switched from New Amsterdam, where I would be born, and that plan got forfeited and switched to York, Elizabeth was guaranteed to be a working class citizen of no more importance than any of the other working economy class that her and her piece of shit family set up as a problem for the future goddess, which was documented. So why is it that we switched from New Amsterdam being the Empire State to New York being the Empire State, but yet Miss Yorkshire in United Kingdom London birth, why did she, of Mayhem no less, well, Miss Mayhem, why did Miss Mayhem, Queen Elizabeth, not get transferred and thrown over the water to New York and sowed to the land that they set on a certain path, and my people stay in potato farming? We got enough room for you and your 10 toes, and we got a spot for you in the royal house. Why did that all happen? It might have to do with the fact that you can't mentally associate one word with the leadership and figure your own part out as humans. I'm just saying, you might want to start there, because like this is getting really fucking ridiculous.